for being patient. Formal written advance notice as required by NJSA 10-4 has been provided at this meeting at least 48 hours in advance of today, giving the time, date, and location. And to the extent known at the time, the agenda of this meeting, such notice, sorry, lost my voice. I should have noticed by heart. Such notice stated that formal action may or may not be taken. The notice was posted on the bulletin board outside the office of the municipal clerk, reserved for this and other similar announcements provided to the Suburban Trends, the newspaper designated by the Borough Council to receive such notices, and filed with the Borough Clerk. Can we stand for a pledge, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Mr. Silverstein?
Here.
Mr. Quigley?
Here.
Ms. Novak? Here. Mr. Ross?
Here.
Dean Seoff is absent. Mr. Kimberlin's absent. Councilman Vanden's absent. We have Mayor Sarah, Mr. Glenn Dominic, Mr. O'Brien, and in place of Kristen Russell, we have Nick Dickerson.
Cool. We're good. Okay, we have first order of business is approval of the minutes for the regular meeting of August 15th, 2024. Can we have a motion, please?
So moved.
So moved. We have a second? Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone voting present? Okay, good. Correspondence, there's actually two items of correspondence. The first is from Pequannock, just informing us that they're doing an amendment to the master plan reexamination report. Doesn't give us any indication of what they're examining, but we got the notification. The other one that I was asked to read to you is from Dean Chioppa. Dear Andy, I hope this letter finds you well. I'm writing to formally tender my resignation from the Redevelopment Agency of Pompton Lakes, effective September 9th, 2024. It's been a privilege to work with such a dedicated and passionate group of individuals in contributing to the development of our community. However, due to other commitments, I am no longer able to fulfill the responsibilities required by this committee. I truly appreciate the opportunity to have been part of this initiative and value the experiences and relationships I have developed during my tenure. I'm confident that the committee will continue to make significant progress in achieving its goals. Please let me know if there's anything I can do to assist in the transition during this period. I wish the committee and its members continued success in the important work being done. Thank you once again for the opportunity and understanding. So do we need to accept this resignation? Or
It would be
is it just-
appropriate to have a motion to accept it.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll motion that.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? I would just like to thank Dean for his service on the committee. He, always provided us with, information that we may or may not have come across or gotten on our own, especially in regards to fire and safety and things of that nature. I think we'll miss his insight on applications, and we'll miss his dedication to the agency. He was a valued member. So with that, do we have a roll call? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay. Okay, we have no conceptual presentations, so let's get right to it. First one up is 60 Wanacue Avenue Realty LLC, 60 Wanacue Avenue, Pompton Lakes, Block 2400, Lot 1, Zone D, RA-1. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Andy.
You all know that this has been in front of us more than once, and has been in the works for quite some time. I will certainly give the applicant credit for persevering with the County of Passaic, which is enough to make you grow hair. So anyway, Steve.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. To be before you again, for the record, Steve Malenik from the law firm of Greenbaum, Smith & Davis here on behalf of 61 Wanacue Avenue Realty LLC. As the chairman indicated, this is a continued hearing. We were before you quite a bit ago, And at that time, we presented the concepts for development that ranged between 17 units and 23 units, which is dependent upon the acquisition of parking rights from Passaic County. That remains the case. Where we left that meeting was there are open questions regarding the ingress and egress as it relates to Wanacue Avenue and the county planning board. As the chairman indicated, that has been some journey to get through Passaic County, and I'm happy to report that after some time, we do have now, as of September 3rd, conditional approval from the county. We also, as you may recall, have approval already from DEP for all of the permits that were going to be related to this application. So we are now back before you. And because it has been some time, and because some adjustments to the plans have been made in regard to comments that were made by Passaic County, our intent tonight is to present both the engineer, the architect, and once again bring a traffic expert, just really mostly in case there are questions. We want to be complete. And then at the conclusion of that, our ask tonight is going to be a vote to approve the project as designed, and then to direct Mr. Brewer and I to complete negotiations of a redevelopment agreement that I've already submitted a draft of to Mr. Brewer, as well as recommendations that we would ask you to make to the council, which include amendments to the redevelopment plan, which are necessary here, as well as a recommendation for a financial agreement. And we have also submitted to Mr. Brewer the project's financial pro forma. So with that, I would ask the project's engineer to come up. Carmine, I think you need to sign back in on this, perhaps?
Steve, I just have one question, just so we're all on the same page.
Yes.
Are we doing this based on 17 or 23?
So, yeah, so the project is designed to include 26 parking spaces on site, which, if that is how it remains, would yield a 17-unit project and would be 3 stories in height. However, as you may recall, we are in negotiations with Passaic County, which has property just down the road. In fact, we have a meeting with them scheduled for October 15th to continue those negotiations. And if we are successful in acquiring in perpetuity, because we know that's important, 8 parking spaces from Passaic County to be developed, then that would yield a ratio that would allow 23 units. So our ask here is for an approval of either 17 units or 23 units, depending on whether we are able to secure those 8 units. And the redevelopment agreement that I've drafted reflects that.
Okay. And we were, from what I remember from the last time, we were okay with doing it that way. Of approving it that way.
You could approve it. It's going to have to be decided, I think, by the time it goes to the planning board. You could approve a variety of things, yes.
Okay.
The building footprint, the building site layout is identical in either versions. It's really just whether it's an additional story
right.
and 6 more units.
Thanks, ask a question. Will you have an answer from the county? When will you think you'll have an answer from the county?
I don't know, I can't promise we'll have an answer on October 15th, but we'll at least be in a position to answer that question when we think we'll have an answer. Certainly, as Andy said, we will need to have that answer by the time we go to planning board. So.
And I've had a chance to start to look at the redevelopment agreement. I don't think there's any way this board will be in a position to approve it before the meeting, and it's October 17th anyway, and that's on the early side. But I'll hand it back over.
All right, very good. Seated to my right is Marvin Blethen, who is the engineer on the project. I'll ask you to be sworn in, and then we can give his credentials.
Please state your name, spell your last.
Marvin R. Blethen, B-L-E-T-H-E-N.
You swear or affirm the testimony you'll give this evening before this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right. You haven't been before this board, so I'll ask you to provide your education and qualifications for the board.
It's hard to say that, 44 years as a professional engineer. Wow. Multiple states, 17 states registered. I've done projects in probably 15, 16 states. A lot of mining projects, a lot of civil projects. Designed a golf course in Alabama. But I've testified before a lot of the county boards up here, Morris County, Essex County, a lot of the municipalities, also in southern New Jersey, Cumberland, Salem.
I think we're good.
All right, so you're qualified as a professional engineer. I'd ask, you have the screen and you have controls of the site plan that is on the screen that the board and the public can see. I would just ask you to walk the board through quickly the site plan that you designed.
Okay, I took over the engineering project in January, February this year to see what was going on, 61 Avenue redevelopment on the lot where the proposed development is going to be, block 2400 lot 1. If we look at what we have as the existing, there's a building that's sited on there. It's mostly paved areas, couple of storm sewers into it, right on the corner of Grove Street, Wanacue Avenue. What we had before us was the New Jersey DEP, as far as getting all the permits and requirements from them, and after that was taken care of, then designing the site around what the requirements were for the DEP permit, and we handle all those type of issues. The issue that we had before you is a demolition plan. The only demolition on there is the pavement that is existing in the existing buildings, and some curbing around the corner of Grove and Wanacue Avenue. What we want to do is, on the site plan, we'll have the proposed Wanacue 4-story 23 unit or whatever is approved. It's backed up, and going before the Passaic County Planning Board, one of the problems that we had to do was with their right-of-way issues, making left turns on Wanacue Avenue, making right turns out of on Grove Street, because that is all in the Passaic County right-of-way. So they had a lot of comments, 7 or 8 months of comments on the technical issues of this thing, making sure we have no left turn coming out of the site onto Wanacue Avenue, so that it's a right turn only coming out of the site. Where the parking lot abuts up against the county right-of-way, there were some 2-foot overhang issues there, so they had to address some of those issues. They had some concrete sidewalk issues and landscaping issues on the Wanacue side of the parking lot. We've dealt with all those. Coming out of the site on the Grove Street, doing a right only, because Grove Street is a one-way road intersecting Wanacue Avenue at a stop signal. We had to make sure that the sight distance was right there, because they wanted to make sure that you could do the left-hand turn on the Wanacue Avenue and the right-hand turn on Wanacue Avenue coming out there. So we had to make sure we did the vehicle tracking to make sure that it worked right. In fact, I was out there personally before the meeting just to make sure that it works right, because sometimes computer renderings don't really, do justice. So I made sure I was in my F-150 pickup truck, which is in the model, make sure that I can see and make the turn. You can make the turn, stop, and you're fine with the stoplight. So that was some of the issues that Passaic County had, as well as some of the storm issues on the property, because the storm drainage that runs through the property actually drains starting at Grove Street and actually comes through the property. If you can look at the site plan in front of you now for the utilities, it actually drains from Grove Street through the curb grates, goes through the property. There's an existing storm drain that goes down into the river area. With the building in sight, we had to make sure that we put a new manhole out there to capture the storm water. The rest of it will stay in place. So as far as the storm water goes, and Passaic County was okay with that, just to make sure that the outlet for the existing storm drain was not blocked up and it's clear, and make sure that everything that comes off of it goes into that, other than what's the DEP says on the outside of the project site on the property lines. So everything was fine there. Finally got them to review it. Looking at it, and they said everything was fine, a couple little conditions. But as far as the site goes, it's a very tight site. The parking lot is, according to specifications, with a 9-foot by 18-foot, 24-foot width. The dumpsters out there. We have all the the sight lines as far as the traffic goes. The one thing that they wanted to make sure on from the county level also was being a left-hand turn from Wanacue Avenue because it's just a divided intersection, 2 lanes, 2 lanes. So they want to make sure you do a left-hand turn. The sight distance back toward the bridge was right. for the stopping distance to make sure that somebody could see somebody turning a left into off Wanacue Avenue, and the sight distance works there. I've done the calculations and actually stopped my car on Wanacue Avenue, nobody was behind me, to make sure what the distance was, you could see where the car would be turning into the site, so there was no issue there, as well as the issue of turning out onto Grove Street. So county was satisfied with all the planning as far as the layout. I know that goes to the redevelopment, goes to the city planning board, but once again, they were looking at a lot of the traffic issues, a lot of the drainage issues, a lot of the right-of-way issues, landscaping, site distances, on landscaping, had to remove some bushes and stuff like that. But as far as the actual planning goes, those were things that need to be addressed on that level. The building did not change, the parking lot changed a little bit because we had to do the EV parking. And once again, they're in discussions with the county on some of those spaces. But right now we have like 26 spaces for the amount of building that we have, 1, 2, possibly 4 EVs, but at least 2 handicap parking spaces. Curbing is all according to the county standards, so everything's been corrected that the county was looking at. So as far as what the planning would be, that is the typical plan. So if there's any concerns or questions or something I did not cover that needs to be looked at from a site plan standpoint, then I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have.
Anyone have any questions? No, I think you've given a great explanation. I think the county, it's just amazing how much time it took them to do this.
We're not through with them yet.
And you're not done with them yet?
Well, we have conditional approval.
Right.
We're gonna meet those conditions.
Okay, we'll talk about what those are. Are there any, from what you went over, are there any conditional approvals?
So
on
the
what's here?
conditions, what the conditions are is we need to, obviously, so as Marvin said, the egress onto Grove Street goes through the county right of way. So we need to negotiate and get approved the easement from the county that goes through that. We don't anticipate an issue there. There is, as Marvin mentioned, we needed to satisfy to their engineer's satisfaction that the stopping, the distance between right there where the cursor is, down to where the curve on Wanacue is sufficient. We've provided that. We see no reason why that's not going to be accepted. And then there was a condition that we had to make an offer of an access easement to the owner of Lot 2 to access their property through ours. As you can see on the site plan, there is a parking space there that is proposed for us to develop at our cost that could be used by the owner of Lot 2. As you may recall from the last hearing, that lot doesn't actually have any parking on site, and Grove Street itself doesn't have parking on street. We actually learned at the planning board for the county, which I didn't know, the history there, that actually is a situation that was created when the bridge was built by the county there years ago. So they've been parking in the county right-of-way without any legal rights to do so and accessing it through our property, which Mr. Sujan has been allowing. But as a condition of the county approval, we said we would offer an access easement to Lot 2, and we have done that.
So where are there 2 spaces?
One space being
one
proposed.
space.
So if you, Marvin, on the cursor, you can show where we're designing that to be there.
Oh, it's right there.
Yeah, right there, yeah.
In front of the,
20 foot.
Right in front of their property.
Yeah, 20 foot by 8 foot.
If you see that rectangle just
Yep.
south of that cursor, that's their building.
Okay,
Yeah, the building's back here. This is part of their sidewalk.
so that's a parallel space.
It would be parallel,
So,
which is,
And that gives enough room for
it's a 20-foot space, so there's plenty.
but for, and that's the exit right there.
So you can exit right out to it, yeah. So the access easement would actually allow them to come in through Wanacue Avenue and traverse our property at no cost to them to access that space that we'll build.
Yeah, they'll be coming in and parking front of
From over, they'll come in from over there.
Correct.
Yeah, it's,
And they'll be parking by that arrow.
Yeah, correct. Parking
And there's
right
enough room for everybody to get in and out.
oh, it's a fully sized space, 20-foot length.
That looks good, okay.
And they have a business too, so where will their business,
That'll be for them. I mean, that's the way it exists now.
that's our concern.
They'll probably park across the street.
Because that's a viable business right now, so,
Well, they don't have any rights to park anywhere now.
so where do they park?
They park in the county right of way.
Or they park on their property.
Yeah.
But sometimes when I get my hair cut, Ray and Rita's right there, I park across the street, not by Starbucks, but in that parking lot.
Or they're gonna have to park in the street parking on Wanacue down the road.
Down the road, you mean across the bridge and down the road?
Not down Grove Street, on Wanacue,
Whereabouts on Wanacue is the
towards
road?
downtown.
Oh, you mean like across the bridge and by the
And walk,
railroad
yeah,
track?
yeah.
That doesn't seem viable.
Yeah, but I think in all fairness to this property owner,
Right, right.
that building was bought with no, when they bought it, there was no parking.
Well, I think if I remember, because it's been a year?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I remember, there was no curbs back in the day, so people just parked along the edge there. So, I mean, are you rendering that property not valuable anymore?
No, I think we're actually doing them a great service. We're building them a parking space which doesn't exist now. If somebody were to buy that property, right, they have no legal parking anywhere. Now, they would be given an access easement, including the easement to use that space that we're developing, plus access through our lot. I don't know that
Yeah,
property as it is right now is.
I think the way you put that is right, because if the property owner did not allow this easement to go through, and the way the county wants the traffic flow, it would be very difficult to get even to that space.
Correct. It would be possible.
Right, basically be
Because it's
impossible.
Grove Street's one
Right,
way.
it's one way, you'd have to go down by
It's
that.
gonna- Yeah, they go all the way back and around, and
And I should also add that, don't forget, they're building the county project around.
Is that going forward, or?
That's, yeah, they
Yeah.
already started working on it, actually. So I'm hoping, that's something that may be a communication between that property owner and the county, to say, hey, look, during the day, can we use some spots, one or two spots? I think that would be a good compromise. There's a lot of spots that they have in that other county area, that might help them out. That's a discussion they should have with the county, and I'd help them do that. Because that project is hoping to get done in less than a year, so they should have that done.
And as you may recall, Abby, when we were here last time, the owner was here
Yes,
and
I
did
do.
comment. And John's commitment at the time is we're happy to work with you, and this we think is a great result.
Okay.
okay. Good,
So if there are no other questions for the engineer, we can bring the architect up.
okay,
Very good.
Great, thank you.
Good job.
You may recall Brian was the architect last time. We'll ask him to be sworn in again.
Okay.
State your name, spell your last.
Brian Cooney, COO,
You swear or affirm the testimony of the receiving before this agency will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth to help you God.
I do. Okay, and he's been previously accepted as the project architect here, so we'll get right into it. If you can just provide a refresher for the board and the public as the architecture is in the project.
Sure. I'm starting with the renderings up on the screen here. So the building is set in the rear of the property, the south of the property. The north of the property, you have Wanacue Ave. You can see the bottom triangle right here, Grove on this side, and this is the adjacent neighbor's property. And this would be the parking spot we were just talking about in the front here. So the building we're proposing is a 3-bay residential structure. It's got two side bays which have protrusions for window bays, and the center bay is the entry bay. So it gives you a full covered awning as you come in. It has lobbies going up and a decorative arched window in the center. Materially, this hasn't changed since the last meeting, but actually, sorry, the materials have changed. No plans have changed from the building. So previously we had different stone material in the center, and we had clapboard siding on the sides. We were asked to explore new materials at the last board meeting, so we looked through different exterior materials and settled on brick and PVC cladding to reflect more buildings in the area is what we settled on. The side bays each have these cantilevered box bays which house windows, and as you can see, it's hard to see with the clarity on this screen, but we'll see later in the render in the elevations of the building that we have areas for the air conditioning vents. That was another comment from this meeting, that they should be indicated on here, and we show them on here, very hard to see, but we can see them on the elevations as we go forward. The center bay is 50 feet high, but the majority of the building around the entire building is about 40 feet above.
And Brian, what they're looking at now is the 23 unit, the 4-story
Correct.
design.
Correct. 4 stories, 10-foot, floor-to-floor, 3-story.
So if we were to imagine the 3-story building, it would just be
Just-
like the middle
Right.
floor cut out?
Just give it a haircut right
Okay.
here.
It would still have the same arched
Yep.
top,
Same
just be the middle cut out?
Exactly.
Okay,
Yep.
good, thank you.
And that's the exit right there, the entrance is on the...
Yep, entrance, yep.
No, I'm saying for the road itself. That's-
Parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that white square is the existing
Right, so
building.
that's the exit out, right?
Right, so you have to make a
And
turn.
the
out
entrance
this
is
way.
not on your drawing right now.
It's
Over there.
It's over there. Well, the next view?
No, not on this right.
There you go.
There you go.
That's the entrance. So garbage enclosure here, you would enter in through here, and then parking lot, entry, and the building runs on the back side of the property here. Here's a view from the rear of the building. So the rear of the building backs up to the rear of the property. Here is the neighboring property building. The materials in the back would be clapboard siding, yes, cement board, and the center bays highlighting here would be PVC clad window box space to match the front. So a view from the rear.
Okay, so that's the back end.
This is the far back. Yeah, it's
Far back.
hard to get because it's kind of a
So-
notch shape.
In looking at this, and I don't mean to be thick about it, is the building rectangular?
No.
No, okay, that's what,
Yeah, well,
You'll see that on the
Okay,
floor plans,
okay.
You'll see.
Okay,
It's
thanks.
kind of a faceted building to just to follow the property
Okay.
line. Here's a view from the street, photoshopped in, so you can see the neighboring property here, Grove Street, and we're on Waterloo.
Is that the landscaping that the county asked for in the front there? Or is that just you putting that? in?
This is just us putting it in, it's just proposed.
okay. So what, just so we can get everything together, what would be the landscaping that the county is going to approve, or that they approved?
They approved the areas. There was no specifics in terms of that. That'll be deferred to this planning board.
No, I thought
Okay.
you had mentioned something about. the
I
county.
thought you meant, yeah, I thought you did mention something about the county,
Landscaping.
Yeah,
Marvin, if you want to touch on,
to that a little bit if there's the question of,
Yeah, we have a list of the items, the,
I mean, while we're looking for that, my guess would be, is they want low type,
yeah, it was all low type, because we have the plant schedule on the lighting and landscaping drawing. They had some issues with the site triangle, doing a right turn along Longview Avenue, so we had to actually take out some bayberry bushes to make sure that they were like 3 or 4 foot.
Mhm.
Had to remove a couple of those, get the site light. It's mostly 3 or 4 foot plantings in the front, as indicated in the drawing.
Right, so the reason I brought it up is there's no trees on that front side.
No.
right, that's what I was getting at, same thing.
Correct. Those are mostly bushes on the front, low bushes, trees in the back, trees on the side.
Okay,
After you point it down, quick question while you're there. Can you go back to your photo of the outside of the building, please? Yeah, whereabouts are you thinking of putting the EV stations? You said EV stations for charging?
Yeah, there's EV stations planned on either corner, if necessary. 2 EV stations on the far right parking spot, which would be here on the left-hand side of the building, these 2 here.
Okay.
One would be a ADA parking spot, and the other is a regular parking spot on the end. And then on the other end where the trash enclosure is, 2 EV stations,
Oh, perfect.
if that's what they're required.
Thanks.
so they're not on the road?
Yeah,
That's what you're getting at?
that's what I'm
Yeah,
getting
okay.
at. Thank you, perfect. Thank you.
I just have, take a question since we are working on drafting as we go.
Yes,
The elevations, all these will be part of the plans that you're agreeing to build.
they can be
They'll be part of it.
attachments to the redevelopment.
They're looking at them, and I want to make sure they're getting what they're looking for.
So just following up on that, just, I'm speaking from the council side and our side. When you present the final plan to the council, will you know the height already, or you will still not know that?
No, we know the height.
No, I'm saying 3 floors, 4
it
floors.
can't, it's gonna go to the
Oh, you
planning
mean
board
the
first.
actual- right.
They have to do, the size of the building has to be determined before it goes to the planning board. We're gonna, if we approve it, we're gonna approve it as 23 or 17 depending.
So at the planning board level, though, they would know at that
Yes.
point what the height.
Yeah, they-
Yeah, so perhaps not by the council, because the next step, we're not even planning, but the next step, if this board were to approve, would be a recommendation to the council to amend the redevelopment plan. And in that redevelopment plan, we would be asking for the height that would allow for the 4 stories.
And kind of, they'll also be before the council again for approval of the financial agreement, which they want. So
Right.
that's going to be based on a number of units that's projected, so you can back into that, how many stores you're going to have.
Well, I'll let you guys work out the redevelopment agreement, but should that redevelopment agreement have either, I'm just gonna do it simply, 4-story or 3-story? That's what it'll say.
It has
Okay,
language.
so when it gets to the council, it'll have that in it, okay.
This agency would be
Yeah.
okay with either.
Either.
Like it has, this is just, I mean, maybe you answered this a year ago, but why do you have no retail on the bottom of the,
Project's, I think, too small to accommodate that in this area. Just,
you know, I'm looking at Riverdale, and I'm sure you all have driven by on Hamburg Turnpike, and they have 1 floor of retail and 1 floor of housing. Why can't Pompton Lakes do that?
Well, I would agree with you, except for the fact that that project didn't have retail to begin with. There was never retail.
And also remember, we've got a shopping center across the street.
Yeah, but you know, we have like the rivers behind it. You're not using, I don't know, like what's
I think loading may be an issue as well.
loading?
There's no rear access vehicular.
I'm just like, are we making the best use of this property?
Well, considering what it is now, I think.
Well, better than what it is, but it's not, I mean, I'm not loving it. I'm not loving it. I think it's not a nice looking I don't think it does anything for Pompton Lakes. I don't think it's like, I think I asked for something that would be like reflective of, like maybe colonial or, you know, back in the day, Pompton Lakes. There's nothing charming about this, I'm sorry to be blunt, but I'm being blunt. It doesn't wow me. So I'm asking you, why would I vote for this?
Well,
We can get that
I
for
think
you.
the answer to you, and that's, you know, everyone has their preference on how they want to see what it is. But I think leaving an empty shell of a gas station sitting there for the last 20 years,
Well, that's true, but I mean, can we do better?
I don't know if we can do better. Would somebody come in and want to do that and put the money in for retail and not get the money out of the building? They might not.
I think the other thing you have to take into consideration is if you do something with, if they wanted to do something with retail, you're really limited with the parking again, because there's gonna be more parking requirements.
Right.
And then you're gonna have I mean, you don't have the ability to say, okay, and I know what they, like in Bloomingdale, they built that building a long ways down the side, there's no front on the street.
Right.
Okay, the
Right.
apartments run backwards.
Yes, I
It's a
know what you're
long,
talking about.
deep property.
Mhm.
This property is pretty difficult to work with. So, I mean, I think,
I just, you know,
There's a lot of factors, we can talk about the aesthetics in a second, but there's a lot of factors that go against retail. I mean, John, if you want to comment a little bit on the retail, John's here as well, and he can be sworn, well, he's already been sworn in. But aesthetically, just back, my recollection is we changed the design of this based on a lot of comments you made at the last
Yeah,
hearing.
but I don't
Obviously, we
see
didn't do it,
anything
we didn't do it the way you
yeah,
said.
I
that,
don't see my input in there.
Look,
but
aesthetics
anyway.
are eye of the beholder, right? The property, we're not asking for changes to the redevelopment plan for the use. This was a contemplated use under your master plan, your redevelopment plan for this property.
Right, but
Without retail.
you are, I think it was 2 stories, and now you're looking for 4 stories.
Correct.
Right, so that's a change, it's a variance.
Oh, correct. There's a number of changes based on a number of the
But what I'm
factors. The
saying
river
is,
being there is a big
At
factor.
the end of the day, like, you know, the way it is now, it's not beautiful, but it's a possibility. When this is done, that's it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of like, that's it, to me, that's all.
Okay.
Quick question about that, about the redevelopment plan.
Yeah.
It's my understanding that first floor residential is not permitted, so would that be another redevelopment plan amendment being requested?
Is that for the DRA? I thought that was a DVD.
That's DVD. Oh. Is that, oh,
Yeah, we're the DRA on this one. DVD is the next application.
I'm looking at it. Looks like there must be a typo in this letter. I'm looking at that.
Well, if that is the state case here, then obviously, yes, that would be required variance as well.
okay, let's keep going.
Moving on to floor plans.
Okay, now I can see the shape of the building.
Yeah,
Thanks.
we're very limited with the actual shape of the property. You can see the dashed line of where we can actually build. So the building kind of fits what we can put in here, essentially. As you come to the front door from the parking lot, we have the elevator and circulation lobby right here, mailroom. So you'd enter in and you go up to your apartment. The first floor has 5 units. It has 3 one-bedroom units. They're approximately 675 square feet. It's 3. They have open living space, kitchen living space, closets, laundry, bathroom and bedroom. There's 2 bedrooms in the blue. So you can see up here in the left and the right, they're facing the parking lot, and in the rear and side. These are about 950 square feet. Again, open kitchen, living space, closets and laundry, a full bathroom, and a master bedroom with an ensuite. As you can see, it has 2 means of egress out, one to the side here that accesses from the parking lot, the darker red, and one exits out here to the other side. Moving up, so the rest of the floors are essentially identical. The red is circulation. Oh, I did miss downstairs. There's mechanical core on the first floor that feeds.
I'm sorry, can you talk a little bit louder?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Sure. There is a mechanical core in the center of the building here that'll feed the spaces, the central spaces. So from the second floor to the 4th floor, we have an identical layout where we have central red circulation elevator, and then this is your center lobby bay. So this looks out onto 1Q Ave. The egress core connects both fire stairs. So you have access on either way out. So in case of fire, it's a safe layout to get out of the building. The units are 1 studio apartment where you can see it's kind of the purple blue right here. It's about 500 square feet. It has a kitchen, bathroom, and living dining combination. The 1 2-bedroom is about 975 square feet on the corner here. And it's similar to the ones below where it has kitchen, living space open. It has a ensuite bedroom and a bedroom here inside. And then the 4, 1 in the front, 3 in the back, one bedroom units are about 675 square feet. It has an open kitchen living space. It has the bedroom in the back, closets and bathroom, as you can see in the different layout on the side here. And the next plan I have is a roof plan, a simple roof plan. You can see the center decorative roof here to show the entry, and the rest is flat roof with the decorative crown molding around the whole edge. Moving on, these are the architectural elevations. So you can see they look dark black. These are actually louvers for the air conditioning for the units. This is the central entry and lobby bay, where we have a decorative center element and the awning that would cover the front entry door. The kind of darker flat gray on each side are window box bays. As you can see, this is on the side on the right, this is your second means of egress. Out comes out here. The lobby one would come out these central doors. This is the Grove Street side, so the fire stair. So the plan is here, you exit out, and these are the units inside. This is a protruding cantilever box bay here. This is we'll call the full rear, the largest rear elevation, where it has clapboard siding, the box bays for 1, 2, 3, 4 box bays for the units, windows, and you can see the louvers here for the air conditioning units. We have decorative molding up top that carries around the entire edge of the building, and the clapboard siding. And same on this angled side of the rear. You can see there's box bays, dark gray, clapboard siding, and you can see the side of the decorative roof in the front. And you can see where we terminate a brick. We have a 2-foot return inside that completes around the edge, so it doesn't look like a thin, stuck on brick. We actually have a full return on the side. And
What, go back one more. No, one more, I'm sorry, that one. I probably missed it. What are those windows?
These right here?
Yeah.
Bathrooms.
Oh, those are bathrooms, okay.
Well, if
Okay,
I look at the plan, no, they're not. They're bedrooms, sorry, they're upper bedroom. They're these, not their bathroom, they're these right here. So they're above the beds. Above the bed. Yeah.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Is there any questions for the architect?
Questions, architect?
What kind of siding did you say? that
It's
was?
like a hardy plank. We can't say it's hardy plank, but it's something like
Is
that.
that like a cement mix?
No, it's like a linear clapboard siding.
I mean, is it a composite of,
It's a composite, yeah.
what kind of plastics or?
It's, no, it's, I don't know what it's made of. It's like fly ash and cement mix.
Okay, that's what it is.
Yeah, it looks
That's
like,
what
it looks like wood siding.
Okay.
Yes.
And then, the square footage of the units, you mentioned something was 500 square feet?
Just the studio is about 5.
How many studios are there?
There's 3. Yeah, the top 3 floors.
And the 650 square feet for the one bedrooms?
They're the one beds, yep.
Okay, is that within our realm? That seems small. Is that right?
That's okay.
Okay, all right, just-
Good size units.
And,
Well, no, that's a variance. So your current zone requires 750 minimum.
That's what I-
so we're
Okay,
asking
sorry.
for a variance.
okay, so that's a variance. And then also, what kind of amenities do you have?
Can I just, so when you say variance, that's one of the things
That's an amendment, correct, thank you, Andy.
they're gonna ask you to recommend to the governing body that they change the plan. They don't wanna seek variance, but they, what makes it
Change the zoning.
contains the zoning, yes, redevelopment plan.
So then it would not be a variance if it's.
Correct, the objective here is if the redevelopment plan was amended, it would go to the planning board without any variances.
Okay. All right, so then we'll leave a list of all the different.
Yeah, so if you look at the
variances
site
or
plan, on the right-hand side under the notes, it lists them in your packet. So if you'd like, I can just read them out
What-
loud.
what's-
Yeah.
You want to do that now, or
If it was responsive to the question, if not, we don't have to.
why don't we do that when we get to the, to the resolution,
Okay,
and
and
we
then-
have everything together?
All right, if I recall right, there are no amenities in this.
The project's too small, too small units.
Can I ask a question, follow up on her question? One of the things we learned is a green area to walk past. Do you have that somewhere? I mean, it's something that's important. We learned on Lakeside Commons project that we didn't put it in, and they need an area to take the pets out. So is there any green space in the back, front, the side?
On this side,
Yeah, around here, right?
The dumpster side.
Yeah, okay.
Right here, right here. Yeah, no, yeah.
I just, there should be an area that
Yeah, it's
says where
grass.
you walk your pets, so they're not
Yeah.
walking them through our town or in our high school or things like that.
So there's an area for pets?
There's an open grassy area, but
You can make it
we don't call it an amenity, it's just grassy area.
Okay. And then also, do you have a restriction on how many dogs or cats or animals?
That's going to be up to the landlord at the time. We haven't contemplated what lease restrictions are going to be.
And so you don't have anybody who's going to be running this project? I mean, there's no set landlord, or like, how does it work?
We're years away from this being fully approved and developed and.
Right, but
having
how
conversations.
does it work? Is there somebody living on site, or? is
There would not be a live-in for 17 to 23 units. There would be an operator, whether it's a
Management company.
The owner itself, or whether they hire a management company, that would be at the time of the operation is put into place. But it would comply with what this board has traditionally required in terms of lease restrictions, which is, no dividing of units. It would provide for each unit to have at least one parking space built in. The standard things that this board has required for leases.
If this, on the back side of the facade there, can you go back to the other end? Okay, so what is that facing, that one wall?
This blank wall?
Yeah, what will that be facing?
So it's,
Grove Street.
yeah, Grove Street.
Okay.
So just so everybody's aware, if you go back to that picture, to the back corner of that, where the fence corner is pointing, it's pointing towards our recycling. So our recycling is right to the right of that.
Which, by the way,
Yeah.
also, that's that inside that fenced area is also a grassed area that's could be.
What I would like to see, and I'm gonna say this for all the projects, an actual designated pet area, maybe with a bag
No
pickup,
problem.
something like that.
No problem with that.
Yeah, no problem.
Is that fence going to be there? Are you Is the fence gonna be there? Is that part of it?
The fence is there now.
It's an existing condition.
The fence is right on the property line now.
Okay.
They're also showing the property kind of flat, but it's not that flat. On the other side of the fence, is that
Yeah, it's
correct?
pretty smooth.
Yeah, it's pretty steep.
Actually, on the other side of the fence, it is pretty flat.
Oh, isn't that flat?
Oh, is it?
That's the closest backyard.
Oh, okay, so that's somebody else's.
Yeah, that's somebody else's property.
So do you have water access, or not that you would need it, but, I mean, does your property go down to the river? Okay,
Yeah.
To the right.
to the right, okay.
You see the lines there.
Oh, okay.
Okay, anybody else have any questions for the architect?
One more, just the mail, you talked about the mail would be a central mail
Yeah,
location?
the first floor plan is right in front here. There's a box/delivery mail.
It would be an area to drop packages and things like
Correct,
that?
yep. Mailboxes, and then there'd be a space here for packages.
Okay. Oh, and I guess the one other thing that we always ask is, you have a mechanical room, but where are the electric meters going to be?
Well, they have to be outside.
They have to be outside, I believe.
Yeah, so we'll have to work with PSC&G. Obviously, we're all suffering their decisions to
Right.
force them to be in the ugliest locations possible, but we'll do what we can to screen them.
We had thought they'd be on this side here by the dumpsters, on this side.
That would be really good if they could be
Facing
there.
away from everything.
Okay.
Preference.
And it's private pickup or town pickup?
Right.
Okay, and they can back a truck in there and get to the,
I believe there was something in the county papers about how the garbage would be picked up and how the trucks could maneuver. I think I saw that somewhere.
Do we have templates?
I sent the plan to Waste Management, and if the easement is consummated, there's no problem because they drive in and drive out. If not, they said there's plenty of room for that to make the turn
Okay,
inside the property.
okay. We're
So
good.
that, it's done, as I mentioned before, we also have the project's traffic engineer, Eric Hope. Not to make any presentation, he did that last time because the traffic study does not change at all, but we have him here in case there's any questions that the board of professionals had on traffic.
so really, nothing's changing on Grove Street. You can't make a left-hand turn into, so what I'm looking at is recycling center. People theoretically could cut through the parking lot if they want, but they can't make a left-hand turn anyway.
We can make a left one
They
way.
have to make a right-hand turn
Correct.
anyway. So there'd be no sense in cutting through, they can just go around it.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
So if there are no questions either for
What,
Eric.
I mean,
Oh,
Glenn, do you
yes.
have any questions?
I don't have any questions.
Okay.
Okay, we have an easy night then for Eric. That concludes our presentation. As I said at the beginning, our recommendation is, or our ask rather, is it a vote to approve the project tonight. We know you're not prepared to vote on the redevelopment agreement or the pilot. So the vote we would ask for tonight is a vote to approve the project and to recommend changes to the redevelopment plan, which are, again, all identified on the site plan. However, I would ask for some flexibility given, just to make sure that the redevelopment plan can accommodate what you're approving here. And then to have us come back on October 17th to be in a position to vote on the redevelopment agreement and the pilot.
Mr. Chairman, I understand that's the request, but approving the plan doesn't give them any more rights, but it does give them leverage on saying they've been approved. I think that's part of the agreement. The
Correct.
agreement approves it, so I think that the vote should be next meeting with an agreement, with the attached plans, with the list of changes, which I think it'd be cleaner if we have a list of the changes our planner can look at it and say, that's
Okay, but we do
my
have,
recommendation.
but somewhere in these packets, we have, let's just go over what they are.
The change, the amendments? Yeah, so I'll go through them.
Can you tell me? Okay.
So,
Does someone have the DRA? Do we know whether?
so this is identified on here, and I don't know if Nick, you've confirmed, but we've been identifying it as the DRA2 zone.
Yeah, I'm trying to get clarification on that one, so,
Can you, just so we can follow along?
Yeah, so if you look under site plan notes, we're going to start on note number 7.
Yeah, but which sheet are you on? Which
I'm
of
on
these
sheet
giant
number
packets?
4 of 16.
4 of 16, site plan.
The 4 of,
Yeah, 4 of 16. I really appreciate this gigantic paper.
So if we're looking at the site plan notes on the right-hand column, and you scroll down, the first variance is going to be identified in the bulk zoning table in number 7 there, you'll see we have a variance required for building height, for rear setback, then a number 8 for the parking. Then down to numbers 9, for the square footage of the living space. 10 for front yard parking.
It's just the two-bedroom?
I'm sorry?
It's just the two-bedroom that needs the variance, or all?
All of them.
Can I just add parking? So you want 26 parking spaces for 23 units?
No, the ask is 26 parking spaces would yield 17 units. And then if we have an additional 8 off-site, but off-street, that we negotiate with the county, then that would be a total of 34 spaces.
Does somebody have a calculator just so they know what the ratio is?
It's around 1.5.
1.5.
And what do we usually get, 1.6?
No, usually 1.4 to 1.5. So we're
So
providing.
it's good, that's good.
What'd you say, 26?
26 on-site plus 8 on the county, so 34 total.
So how come it says required 42?
Because that actually is what your zoning is. You have given this,
Okay, so that is our requirement.
yeah, but you have gone to 1.4 on most projects, at least the ones I've worked on.
Okay, but what would the one, so what are we now here? Like the 42?
Your 1.75 ratio.
That's what I thought. I mean, I thought.
That's what the DRA2 is. So that's the parking. 9 is the square footage of living space. 10, your ordinance provides for no parking in the front yard, which obviously you need to do here. 11, no off-street parking is permitted in any side or rear yard, provided that said space shall not be closer than 5 feet to the property line, so we violate that. 12, loading and unloading shall be made in the rear. We don't have any rear space. Okay, we don't have any rear space. Down to 14, no driveway shall be located within 5 feet of the sideline. We need variance in that. 15, the trash enclosures set back from the public right-of-way. And that is all that have been identified thus far.
So the trash enclosures, how are they close to the public, are we talking about right-of-way sidewalk?
We can call Marvin up so he can read his plans and tell us the distances, but.
But no,
yes.
but is that the side, like?
It's on the right-hand side. If you scroll out here, Ryan, that's where it's located, right there, on the right-hand side.
Okay, but, so where is the public right-of-way? I mean, are we talking about the?
Street or sidewalk, it's just a good 10, 15 foot away.
Okay, that's what I want to know.
So to give everybody a big picture, just so I know you all know that, but I just want to put it out there. So we have this project going on. We have the reframing and redoing of the recycling center, which is right behind that, with the new entrance, the new exit, the new circle going in and out, all done because the county is building their project to the right of that. County is a 52-unit space with a lot of open green area in the backside towards the recycling center. So we're trying to redo that whole little corner right there as one good piece to make it look a little better. They're all going to almost be touching. There is some space between this project and the recycling center. I think there's what, one house in between?
One property.
One property in between, and then that would be the recycling center. So when you look at it, you all know it, but it's the corner, one house, recycling center.
Okay. All right, so now we all know what the variances are.
And I think what we're gonna have for next, for the agreement, will be a list of them. So rather than looking at
Yes,
this and
okay.
going through,
Okay.
that'll be an
But
exhibit.
just so we went through it.
That's fair, and if I could just ask for Nick or Kristen, if you wouldn't mind, I mean, between now and then, also double check to make sure that we're not, because it doesn't help anybody that we list it out and then get to the planning board, oh, we missed something.
Exactly. I'm trying to find that right now.
So,
And
I'm sorry, but
go ahead.
are they variances or are they
The
changes?
site plan.
As of now, they would need a variance.
Right.
Their request, which is pretty standard in the agreements and we've done here, is that the redevelopment plan be amended
Right.
so that no variances would be required.
To expand on that, actually, we have to, because one of the variants requested is a D6 height variance.
Yeah.
Which, because this is a redevelopment area, we couldn't get.
Right.
We would need the zoning changed.
Okay.
Does the board have the authority to grant any waivers on any of those plan changes?
Parking, one or two other, but you're gonna need some. They will absolutely need some. And the planning board could give some, but not all, definitely not the height. And so some of them, you're gonna have to change the plan. And I think that there's the desire, we've typically, this board, the agency has been willing to recommend on a good project, a project they like, recommend, and it's up to the governing body to
Right,
change
so I was
it.
gonna say, it's,
Yeah, the planning board have the ability to do some. The preference and the way we've done it is that they go to they ask the governing body to amend it.
Right, so then, in effect, this redevelopment plan will be specific for that property. Okay. When you and I spoke, did we not have a question on the COA requirement?
We spoke to the administrative agent on this
Okay.
project, and we have written confirmation of what is required here, which is one on-site and one contribution. We'd provide a two-bedroom on-site.
Okay, you good with that?
I'm good with it as long as, we're gonna confirm it too, and I'm sure.
Yeah.
yes,
So
because-
You can forward the email
We
to,
use a group called Triad.
that's what we talked about.
So if you talk to them, they're our spokesman for our call.
Okay, because the agreement that I knew it, and again, I'm not Triad, I'm agreeing with that Triad here. But it says you got 10%, 30% can be a buy down, pay 70%. Yeah, if you have 23, if you get
And the ordinance
23
also
units.
requires a round down, which is where we end up.
So that's,
That's what I want, I'm not agreeing to that.
Check that.
Steve knows his stuff, I'm not disagreeing with
wrap
Mr.
that
Mahoney
up,
here.
I can't tell.
But that'll have to be confirmed, and generally the way it's in the agreement, this agency has said, you have to comply with whatever it is you got.
Okay. So I guess that's all we can accomplish tonight.
I mean, it would help to go forward to the 17th, to have some affirmative vote. As Andy
Well-
said, you could vote to approve the project. Obviously, the agreement is what's ultimately binding, but if we can request that, that would help.
The only issue I have with that, I have no problem voting on it. I think the planning, it's gotta go to the planning board to get the height, the number of apartments, that's important. This whole, no, that's still a question of which way it's gonna.
No, that's here, that's what, we amend the redevelopment
No,
agreement.
but then, you don't have an answer yet, you said you one or the other.
Oh, no, we're not
Correct. Oh, no,
going
no.
for that. The
Oh, that-
plan we're
we're
asking
talking
for
about
is to be
different
variable.
Yeah, okay, I understand that. But when it gets to the next stage, which would be the planning board, they would make it, you would know by then what size.
So, yeah, at that point, but the zoning would already been changed to allow for either.
Right, correct, that's true.
But it's also gonna go,
to the
it's a
board.
zone change, it has to go, the governing body, first reading, goes to the planning board to look at it for consistency with the master plan, and back to the governing body. So they will have a chance to review it that way, the proposed changes to the height.
Correct.
And then that's before it even goes there for the site plan application. I don't want to fight back and forth, I don't see a benefit of voting on the things.
I'll be quite candid. I'm asking for, because there were some comments from Ms. Novak that there was some, maybe it wasn't going, meeting everybody's approval. So having some understanding would be helpful.
I don't know what we voted.
You could vote on directing me to prepare and
I like that.
negotiate the redevelopment agreement consistent with the plans that have been presented tonight.
I love it.
Okay, good. Okay, that's the motion?
That's the motion.
Somebody want to make that motion?
Moved, so moved.
So moved. Do we have a second? Moved
Here.
and seconded.
Kenny seconded.
Any further discussion?
I don't like the 4 stories. And I'm not pleased with I know I've been like an advocate for years for design standards, because I think that this would be clarified for you and you, what we are looking for as a town, and that we would have at the end of the day, we'd have something that was cohesive and made a statement. But, in another town, maybe that would work. For this town, I just think it's just something stuck on this, the end of our town, or somewhat.
A good project to compare this to would be the Lakeside Commons project, right? They had retail there that we did put back there.
Right.
We put in a building to hold every number of units was put there. And to date, we really had no issue. I can tell you that, and this is not just our town, there's a lot of shortages of housing right now.
Yeah, but they're shorting in housing and rentals, lower income rentals, like our COA, right? And they're shortage of housing in single-family homes. But we are putting in a lot of 1 and 2 bedroom
They're
rentals.
selling. That's the problem.
And they're not selling,
They're renting.
the rentals.
Yeah.
But, I'm just, I'm wondering, are we saturating the market, or
Well,
and also, I'm a little concerned when I see Riverdale putting in the kind of units that I saw on Hamburg Turnpike, and we're not able to do that. I don't
And I should
understand
bring
that.
up a good point, Riverdale, Wayne, Bloomingdale's putting in 260 rental units.
Well, they're doing that on the highway, but I'm talking about
They're doing it on Union Avenue. right across from Avalon Bay.
Oh, the one,
That's a gigantic project in
right, that's a
Bloomingdale.
gigantic project.
And when we- and
I'm talking about the small space that they
The
have.
small space they have, they're in Riverdale, they
Right.
don't have, they're not frontage.
Right.
So you don't see it, so, I see what you're saying, 'cause you can see
Yeah,
it.
no, I'm just saying, everything we do, it seems to be 4 or 5 stories high, and I'm like, why do we always have to go to 4 or 5 stories high? That's-
Well, no, they, without ordinance zoning, they can go forward without coming here.
With that, if,
I don't have to come to this board for the height, unless you
Right.
get to 5. So 4 they can build.
oh, okay, so I'm misunderstanding that, because
The
I
other way
thought they're
around.
at 2.
The other way, yeah.
Oh, 3 to 4?
Yeah.
3 they can build without even coming to the.
Okay, but now they're looking for 4,
Right.
right, and then the other project's 5, and the project right
Which
here
is-
is 5, the one that we'll be talking about next.
Well, that's nothing, there.
No, I'm
Yeah,
just
it is,
saying,
but
like,
it-
why are, we're, Pompton Lakes is always going to the most.
Well, I think Riverdale's, that's 4 stories.
I
4 or 5.
I don't know, it's most, I sat at this hearing where you heard a concept for a 14-story
Well,
project,
that's true.
you know.
Right.
That's
so-
not there, then we don't have the sewage capacity for it,
Yeah.
so.
I mean,
so
the
that's
other
why
thing
it's
too,
not
though,
there.
that I think you have to take into consideration, and I'm not disagreeing with you,
Yeah, yeah.
but is just the lots that are available and what you can build on them.
Right.
I mean, it's really
So then,
difficult
so what I'm
to-
saying is, we're gonna have to go, high or, 4 stories, which I'm not in favor of in that area, because that's all 2 stories. There isn't anything 3 stories over in that area, right?
Well, no, the county building will be 5.
It will that be 5 stories? I thought that was
Yeah.
3 stories.
5.
Okay, so, but what I'm saying is, the architectural, aspect of it, I'd like to see something better than that.
That's something you could.
Yeah.
I like this, I like this building. I
Yeah,
thought
but
it
it's
looked
not-
good with the
Yeah.
mall across the street, because that's not colonial at all.
No, I know that.
So I just.
But I
want-
just feel like it's just, we're always going for like the cookie cutter thing, something that says Pompton Lakes, like something from the, we have a really interesting past, but you don't see it anymore because it's getting torn down.
Right.
It's been torn down a long time ago.
And I kind of agree with you, except that, I mean, I've been here for 65 years.
Right.
That gas
Well,
station's been there
yes,
for 20 years.
Yes.
We gotta get rid of it, we gotta make it move. We
Yeah.
got somebody who wants to build something, it's gonna be
Right.
nice, it's gonna add to the tax side of Pompton Lakes, and honestly, I'm tired of waiting, I want something built, I want something done.
Yeah,
I don't want
I get that, but I wish we
had.
had standards, because then we would be able to.
But we
say
don't,
what we want.
it's not their fault that we
But-
don't
No,
have
that's
standards.
not
But just again because I know you are
Yeah.
hot on this, is I spoke to Glenn, I spoke to the mayor, and then we are creating a budget for the redevelopment agency, which again, we're gonna try to put a redevelopment standard project in that we've already asked those folks to do, but there wasn't money in the budget last year.
Yeah,
So we're
and
trying
I
to get
realize
it.
that, it's just that, how many are we a
Well-
decade into this already? But anyway, that's not your problem, but we're a decade into it, and we don't have a plan.
Well, we want, to be honest, our plan, I don't know if you knew this, our planner, a different planner came and spoke at our last council meeting. And
Okay.
she said everything's running pretty smooth, except she would suggest that we just do that.
Right.
We put a plan in place. We weren't told that in 10 years,
But I mean, I know I asked about it,
Yeah, no, that's.
time and time again. So anyway, go ahead.
Okay.
So I'm getting a little annoyed that I'm seeing something that I might see on like Route 13 going down to Norfolk, Virginia, and it's like the Comfort Hotel. That's what
We're talking
that's what.
17 units, this is not.
Yeah, I know, but it's a.
17 or 23.
It's-
It's not a big project.
It's a visual. It's a visual that's just like,
I agree with
here's the
Tom.
mark I like to be at, where like
It's there
here.
now. I get complaints all the time, why is the town letting that junk garage sit like that?
Yeah, no, I understand that, but it wouldn't take us that much to change what we have here, because it just needs a little.
Well, you can, that's up to you guys. It's-
Well, I can't, how can I, like, right now, can I say tweak it, and that's part of
Well, you
the,
could, but I mean.
but that's
you
gonna
can.
take time, right? And that you don't want it.
I don't think that's the.
Suggestion, maybe to listen.
But I don't think that's the issue. I think the issue now with the motion on the table for what we asked Andy to do is you can make a suggestion which may or may not carry.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how everybody feels about voting. We know how Tom feels.
Okay, so
Anytime
we can
between
just vote, and
now-
I'll vote my way, and I'm sorry that you're not gonna like it, because I'm not happy with this. I don't like the way it looks. I don't like to go 4 stories where we're in a predominantly, a lower level.
Well, that's not a true statement, though, because we are building.
Oh, you said that, you said
Right.
5 stories.
And
Okay.
the Salvation Army, and the building in the middle, these are all projects, this is what redevelopment is.
Yeah.
But it
Redevelopment-
doesn't have to be that high, that's what.
Well, but.
You gotta make money.
Historically, redevelopment in other towns, that's the high.
Yeah, we wouldn't even be before you if we were 2 stories
No,
we
I'm talking
couldn't
about
build.
maybe three.
Three-story,
And it may wind up being that.
It may end up being that, but obviously it may not be built, even though it's getting approved now, just because.
Right.
But at any point between now and when we pull building permits, at any point, the aesthetics, I can't help you with that. But at any point, the aesthetics can change, we can come back to this board and say, hey, we rethought it. Because at the end of the day, whoever's gonna build this is gonna wanna build it in the most marketable way possible to attract tenants, and not only attract tenants, because it's gonna sell, or it's gonna rent, because as the mayor says, everywhere I go, they get an approval, they rent.
They rent.
The question is, how attractive could it be to get the rents as high as possible? So the incentive is on the developer just as much as it is this board to make it as attractive as
I mean,
possible.
I will say, I think that the changes you, and this is my opinion, I think the changes you made to the building from the rock front that was there is significantly better. I mean, the rock front to me looked kind of mausoleum-like. I think this is a tremendous improvement.
and
So-
look, what Abby's saying, I can understand, you know, we want to try to build some history into the buildings that we're building, I get that point.
Because we
Maybe there's
tore
a way
most
to do
of
that,
them
and I just don't know. Keeping the same height, keeping the same structure, but maybe, and I'm just throwing, I'm not saying doing this on this project, maybe a P and an L somewhere on a lit up area or something that.
Well, I'm not sure about that, but.
Whatever the history, you know, whatever you're looking for in that. I mean, I don't think you're gonna take, you know, look at our downtown.
We can call it the Sarah.
I don't want that.
There we go.
The downtown is a mishmash of what it is right now. We're trying to bring that into a pattern a little bit.
But that's what I'm saying, we're missing the mark, because we don't have a plan, so we're not bringing it into a pattern. And
Right.
here I see, again, we have a pattern of not bringing it into a
But-
pattern.
But again, and we're spending.
I know we're spending a lot of time, so
But if you
far.
take the building you looked at in Riverdale, that long building that
Yeah,
goes
I
down,
mean, yeah.
is the most unesthetically pleasing building.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
a
not-
concrete block
yeah, yeah.
with divisions for retail and apartments across the
Right,
top.
right.
With absolutely no aesthetics at all.
Yeah,
I mean, this is
I'm just looking
phenomenal.
at that for the height of it, is more appealing.
See, to me, and I would normally say, I would agree, to me, on this project, where it's located next to a
Yeah.
recycling center with the woods behind it, the height is not really affecting me.
Yeah.
That's me personally. You know, 14th story in the middle of town, that affected me.
Yeah.
Okay, but this one, where it's located and what's behind it, there's not much, there's no real residential behind it, so there's nobody worried about it, and you have a recycling center behind it, really, and a stream.
Okay, any other discussion?
Not
Have a roll call, please.
Can we repeat who was the motion?
Excuse me?
Can you repeat motions?
I,
Tom?
my motion
Ken
and
Ross.
Ken Ross.
Okay. Mr. Silverstein?
Yes.
Stein, sorry.
What?
Mr. Quigley?
Yes.
Ms. Novak?
I'm gonna say no, because I'm not happy with this stuff.
Mr. Ross?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your patience tonight and letting us go through this, so we'll be in touch with Mr. Brewer. And hopefully we'll be back in a couple weeks.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Good luck.
2 minute break?
Yeah, let's adjourn for 5 minutes.
5 minutes? Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We have a motion to,
No, not adjourn.
recess. Motion to recess.
Motion.
Okay.
I don't think it's which one. So what you suggest?
Maybe what we can do between
Any criticism?
smoking here, and this is I don't think I want to rebuild this into the same way.
No, I don't. I mean, I think we
Maybe
can
maybe
just.
we can choose.
We pick and choose where something.
That's right. I mean, there's.
How you doing?
Something.
Good to see you again.
It's easy to do.
Well beyond, it's well beyond anybody's level right now. And we should sure, no, because we don't have a plan. And I'm just,
I mean, I tried.
I'm getting a little fed up.
I tried to get the plan
Getting a little fed
done.
up. Hold on, hold
If you
on.
don't do it.
Got it?
Okay.
We're going to reconvene the meeting. We have a roll call, please.
Okay. Andy Silverstein?
Here.
Mr. Quigley?
Here.
Ms. Novak?
Here.
Mr. Ross?
Here.
And I guess Mayor Sarah?
I'm here.
Okay. And we have Mr. Dunn.
Okay. So this is Pompton Smith Properties LLC, 201 Montague Avenue, Pompton Lake, New Jersey. Lot 6300, Lot 1, Zone DBD 1. You tried to say.
I'm back. Good.
You again.
Again, yes. Hope this one we anticipate going quicker because we've been before you many more times in this application. This is the property at 2011 Wanacue Avenue. This is block 6300, lot 1. As you may recall, last time we were in front of you, we were directed to go back and make some revisions based on a couple of things. Brief recap, our application has
Another 5-minute recess.
Hold on, oh, we're back up, okay.
Bill, take this as a sign.
Technical questions.
You okay?
Got it. So good. Barb?
Yes.
We're good?
We're good.
Okay.
Good.
We're good?
We're good.
All right, getting back into it, where we were last time, you may recall, our application was requesting parking on 2 different levels. One of those levels was to be accessible through the pond hole. For reasons we discussed at that point, for financing and other reasons, we would need, as an applicant, an easement from the governing body through the pond hole to access that. It would not be an exclusive easement, it would be non-exclusive, and it would also not be a specific pathway. It would allow flexibility for the municipality to build later on, and it would be consistent with all the other uses that access the rear through the pond hole. We understand that there were some issues with that. So what we have done, one of the things you'll hear tonight, is design an alternative that doesn't require access through the pond hole. We do not think it is the best proposal. We still maintain that the best proposal is accessible through the pond hole, and you'll hear why. Mainly, to satisfy your parking requirements, without the easement, it would require us to license 46 spaces through the pond hole lot. With the easement, it would require only 8. More spaces would be able to be accessed and developed on site and would defray the need to take up that much space on the pond hole lot. So that's number 1. Number 2, the other main comment was the amount of retail space that was being provided in the prior design, which, as you may recall, was also an increase over the earlier design in the square footage of retail. As you'll hear from the architect, we have gone back, we have revised the plans to move around utility rooms and hallway access and things like that, and have resulted in actually increasing the commercial space even further. So we hope that meets with your approval. And again, we now believe we are there and ready to have a vote similar to the last application to direct Mr. Brewer and I to negotiate a redevelopment agreement and designate this applicant as the redeveloper. So we'll start with the engineer to our right, Mr. Weissman, who has been previously sworn in, remains under oath, has been accepted as an expert, and I would ask him to just briefly go through what has been resubmitted as, just from the last application, changes to the plans. Mr. Weissman.
Okay, so the first floor plan, which is the ground level plan, has been changed to include the number 5 retail spaces.
Hold on. The generator's going, so you're gonna have to speak pretty loud.
Okay, sorry. The accesses remain the same. There's been a slight shift in access off Lakeside. Again, that's a one-way in to accommodate the transformer room, electric meters into that corner. The reduction in the spaces on that first floor level went from 28 to 20, so we lose 8 spaces now due to the reconfiguration of that area. The lower level, which we originally had 39 spaces on, we are requested to basically not allow parking underneath the building, which brings us to a total standard space count of 20, where 72 spaces are required for the apartments, and if retail's included, that is 18, brings it up to 90. With an EV credit, we have -6, so we are down to 64 spaces needed from the pond hole in the license agreement. from an engineering perspective, everything else,
I hate to interrupt you, but it's really hard to hear you up here.
yeah, okay,
That doesn't help.
This is not an amplifier, this is just a recording, so you're just gonna have to speak louder for everybody.
okay, so basically at this point, obviously the footprint of the building has not changed. The exterior, I'll again defer to the architect as far as the exterior, but the accesses have remained the same with obviously the elimination of the pond hole access. We do have an exit out onto Colfax Avenue, an entrance in off of Lakeside, which again has been slightly shifted to the west to get a,
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm sorry, to the north, to allow the electric meter and transformer room to be located in that location. Again, reduction in spaces from 28 to 20 on that level, and again, elimination of the spaces in the lower level, bringing us down to a total of 20 spaces available. Balance of spaces required are proposed to be licensed from the borough in the pond hole. Other than that, there's no other engineering aspects to the plan that's been changed.
Yeah, so most of the changes are gonna be reflected in the architect's testimony, but we wanna get the site plan out of the way, so.
So there's 20 spaces, that's plus
Yes.
46 spaces.
The 20 spaces on the first floor level, yes.
Okay, and the 46 spaces in front.
And the 46 spaces where, I'm sorry?
Pothole.
Let me just jump in. I know how they're presenting, but if he's saying one or the other, we then never spoke about 46 spaces.
That was my next question.
No,
Yeah, one of the questions. Has there-
No, there was no, I'm not suggesting that was, so the suggestion was, as an alternative to an easement, if we weren't able to access it, we would have to ask for the licensed spaces. That is the number that would,
Oh, it's just the number you're talking
that's the number that would be necessary to reach the ratio required.
We had no discussion.
None.
Yeah, so can I at least sum it? I think this is what they're saying.
Yes.
On this variable, they are asking the agency to approve what they're doing, subject to them going to the governing body, and the governing body saying to the governing body, can we have an easement? And if they say yes, then they're gonna build it with them downstairs. If they, no, you can't have an easement, they say, can we, in perpetuity, have 46 spaces in the pond hole? If the governing body says yes, then it's approved. If they say no to that too, they have nothing, they'd have to come back. Is that fair?
If they say no to
Both.
If they say no to both, yes, of course.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, the governing body, either scenario requires us to
Yeah.
license spaces.
Yeah.
That controls with the governing body.
But, so, what was the number you talked about before the 46? I remember you were looking at,
We were originally at, we needed to buy, with not taking retail into account, we needed to buy 3 spaces.
Yes.
and with the new retail setup, how does that work?
And we would need 18 spaces.
No, that can't.
No, then you're answering the
I'm
question.
sorry.
With the retail changes and no easement, 46.
Right, with the retail changes,
3 to 46.
With the retail changes and an easement, 8.
3 to 8. 3 to 8.
Correct.
Right.
But the biggest thing is they are giving you 2 sets of plans,
I get it.
both of which there's still one other party that's got to say yes to one of these things.
Yes.
Okay.
This is not dissimilar than what we went through before, 4 stories or 3 stories.
Yeah, the only difference being it's this municipality rather than a separate body, the county. But yes.
Well, no, it's still this municipality, the redevelopment agreement being amended from 4
Oh,
to
you're talking about
3.
the amendment. I was talking about
Yes.
the county parking spaces.
No, no.
Sorry. Yes.
Same thing.
Correct.
But I think there has to be discussion at this level before it comes to the council on what they're proposing for an easement. Everyone just keeps throwing out easements, but no one's showing me what that is.
I'll reiterate what our proposal is. It is a non-exclusive easement, meaning that it does not restrict any other use of the property, any other party being contracted, number 1. Number 2, we're not requiring or requesting any specific lane. There'll be no meets and bounds or legal description or depiction of a lane that needs to access. You can zigzag in any which way to accommodate the future use of the property, including the construction of a building, construction of a parking lot, as long as we can get a vehicle there, which there's no logical way I can conceive that you would construct anything that wouldn't be able to get a vehicle there. You raised before the meeting the question of whether the only access is a fire lane. Mr. Brewer, I hope would confirm with me, there's no restriction that a fire lane cannot be also used as a right-of-way to get to a building. Obviously, you can't park on it, we're not proposing that, but it can be also used that way. So from our perspective, the easement is as flexible as possible, would not result in any hindrance on your ability to construct in the future.
What, and I think you probably said it perfectly, but he's going to go to the governing body and say, see this big circle? This is the pond hole. This is our point of entry. What we want from you is a guarantee that for the next 50 years, we can get through this pond hole to that point. You can tell us where it is. We need a 12-foot wide space, 12 in order to access. I don't know if the governing body's going to do that, but they're not saying they don't care. They don't care about where it is. They just want to always be able to do it.
I think the governing body's gonna want to hear from both the planning board and the redevelopment agency. Do you think that's a way that you would want to address this? I mean, just throwing it on the governing body to say you want to haphazardly say, go this left, take left, they're not going to say yes or no to that. They need someone to show them, this is what it's going to look like if you do that. I mean,
But there's no way to tell what it's going to look like, say, 10 years from now.
right now, if there were-
Right now, if it was built, if that building was there today, my anticipation would be is someone would drive into Babcock, make a left down the center aisle of the parking lot, and drive smack into that garage. Why not?
because there's cars parked along there.
Obviously, they're going to go down the lane.
No, I'm saying, there's parking spots on the back side.
Well, I believe their proposal, if I remember correctly, had 2 of those spots going away.
That was a 24-foot entry.
Well, that's another parking
Right.
that they can spot. That all has to be addressed, like a letter.
Well, that would
saying,
all be in,
We need to remove 3 spots.
but that would be something that would be in the redevelopers agreement.
But no, they want to go to the council, so for the council to see that.
They don't want to, I don't think you have that right. Do you want to go to the council first?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to pull up the map here to show that you have to repeat the question.
If I could interpret a little bit, maybe
Where am I off here? Babcock?
There you go.
that without saying what the governing
Oh,
body,
here, right?
Steve, without saying what the governing body is going to do, it might be helpful for the governing body to digest it, to say, as of today, before any changes are made to the pond hole, this is where we envision and would request that the easement be located, so people can always access this way, knowing that it may change in the future, but.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly, but they put on their preferred one that they will go to the governing body with the expected
And
easement.
if the
as of-
spots removed, we need
And response removed. And I'm not saying how they're gonna vote, they may say no, but I think that helps them digest it better.
They're not gonna, you can't just go ask them, then we get easement, they're gonna say, well, tell me about easement, what does it need, where does it go? Is there spots in the way, how do you want us to?
I know, I fully envision if this gets to that point, us making a full presentation to the governing body of the meeting.
They have rights to those spaces, they have to have
Which that would include,
funds
you're
with land.
talking about spots, how many spots?
So,
I think it was 1, right? One space.
what, 1 space be removed?
Yeah.
I thought it was 2.
As long as they got.
Is it this what you're?
10 foot.
Is this aerial
Is it
current?
No.
The current layout?
Oh, you asked me, it's coming,
This is
it
Babcock.
looks pretty good, yeah.
This is rolling.
Your building is down here, right?
Top.
At the top.
So Bob's got the cursor, it's right.
There's the entrance right
Right.
there.
The entrance is right there.
So, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces there.
You're not gonna lose all of them. That was-
1, 2, maybe 3, I'm sorry, there are 3 spaces, one,
Well, it's not one.
turn across, 1, 2, 3, right there. Those are the spaces that would be,
So there's 3 spaces that are gonna go away.
3 spaces, yeah, not one.
Not one.
Now, the other one is, the other aspect to this is, all of these buildings on, that front onto Wanacue are all accessed through that same pond hole at that elevation, and they have no parking in front, no access to parking in front, so they would be in the same condition as far as the
I'm saying no
process.
parking, but there is parking.
There's parking, but this is where the main entrance is.
Well, you can park on the street too.
Yes.
Yes, but as you and I have had this conversation before, in that corner building over there and at the shop, these folks are parking cars on their property, and what they're doing now is coming down Babcock, going down this lane. You can even see where it's paved and not
Right,
paved.
but they don't have
cross-
an easement, so tomorrow, when we build something in that park, they.
That's correct.
Have nothing. They're asking for easement.
Yeah, and again, just so everybody's clear on the reason why, this is not a built project. this is going to require a bank to finance this, and the bank is going to want to see, you're putting 20 spaces on this level, you're accessing it through somebody else's property, show me the easement.
Yeah, exactly.
The site does presently have access and does use that rear of this property, the subject property, for parking coming in from the pond.
It's also required, but the planning board would require to show they have a legal right to access those spaces. Even if the bank didn't require.
That's exactly right.
The planning board's gonna require, you need.
And going
the right
to your
to
point,
access.
Chairman,
I'm sorry.
to go to your point, tomorrow, if we put a blockade across that, and said you can't enter it, they have no right, and say you can't park there.
They may fight you,
Not
but
that, I mean, not that, I'm talking about the other places you're talking about.
Well, they may, but didn't you, you and I had a conversation
Awful
about
hard to
this
win prescriptive easement against.
against the government.
very hard.
It's awful hard.
So, I mean, there's no answer to this problem without taking a position one way or the other.
Listen, I want to try to, the only way, I think, Mayor, that it sounds like your concerns are going to be satisfied is if somebody plots out what a future building could be like,
I
right?
think, well, I'm not saying plot out, but I think if you're asking for the approval from the council, I don't speak for everybody in the council, I think they're gonna wanna see what you're asking. They don't, you just say easement, they're gonna say, okay, show what do you need, what do you want?
But to Mr. Brewer's point, we're being as flexible as possible. We're going to say, this, just allow us from point A to point B, you tell us how.
I'm just making a suggestion, this is just a suggestion. I think they would like to see it instead of making.
We can.
Well, that's just right here. I said, come down Babcock and go down the center lane.
Yeah, that's it.
And then at least that's as far as the discussion, you leave it up to them, there'll be 7 people with 7 different plans, on how they want to see these.
Which, that's why,
Or no.
that's the reason for it to be a land use. Because it would be,
It could work.
the way it is now, access, and if it changes in the future, as long as we have the access, it's all matter. We have back the reconfiguration.
I mean, I'm struggling to understand why it would be difficult to just, there's a lane there. Drive up the lane right to the entrance.
Yeah, right now, not a problem.
It's 3 lanes.
Well, you just said right now.
Right, I'm saying right now. And then the next question would be, if the town was to build a building there, how would that?
You say to the architect, this is the easement we have. Make sure it gets access.
But that lane might not be the lane that we're looking for.
Correct, doesn't have to.
Right, so that's what they're gonna ask for, these questions.
That's fine, we're ready to answer them, yeah.
From an engineering perspective, I can't see this pothole being redeveloped as with the structure without having parking underneath.
Sure.
Access around, and that's what would most likely happen. And the same concept would apply that we don't care as long as we get access through that garage to the art.
And the other part that the council's gonna wanna hear from both boards, from this board especially, if you're suggesting the project to move forward, separate from the parking, separate from the easements, then they wanna know that. If we're going through all this work and then you guys still have an issue with the project,
No, we wouldn't come to you with that. That's why we're here, is because I want to go to the council, make this presentation, answer these questions, and say, we're here because the redevelopment agency voted to approve this. We have a redevelopment agreement. It's conditioned upon you all agreeing with this, but we have the blessing of the redevelopment agency.
that's what I'm saying.
And that's why we're here. That's what we're asking.
What do you think about this plan?
Well, I mean, they're asking for a general easement. I don't know why we wouldn't give it to them. What's the limitation to giving them?
Because that's, just so you know,
Right,
that area is not somewhere where we're going to.
right.
Right, so it would be on stilts, it would be, because we have obligations to parking, we're already.
But even if it wasn't, I'm sorry, I asked you a question, I
Yeah,
cut you off.
they're saying okay, you can build, move our easement, just give us an easement,
Right, no, I get that.
right? So why wouldn't we do that? Well, what was those 4 spots?
We do, so we're losing spots too.
So why
Yeah, but
would
that's
you
going to
do
be
it?
that's different though. That's a negotiated issue.
So you buy them.
You have to lose, how many losing 3?
Yes. They'll buy.
Even if you come down the lane, you're losing 3 because of the way your property line.
Yes.
It's never good to lose parking, but for the betterment of redevelopment,
But
It's
like I
general
said
easement.
before, this board has to have a discussion tonight on all the things we just talked about on the last application. If you're all good with that, and like you said, then you're presenting it, but you're still in flux of how you want the building to be.
Well, let's get
That's
into.
got nothing to do with the parking.
Yeah, I mean, we're
My
going all
understanding-
over the place. We got to do one
Yeah,
thing at
hold
a
on.
time.
Let me recap here, because I don't want my understanding to be wrong. My understanding is that we're moving past a lot of those issues. We've settled a lot of those issues. We were asked to come back on retail specifically.
That's up to the board. I don't.
Yes, that's correct. And, okay, so the issues that I think we're past, we haven't had a formal vote, but conceptually, we weren't asked to go back and we don't like the height, we don't like this. We were asked specifically retail space
And parking.
and parking.
That's how I remember it.
Agreed.
That's how I remember it.
If I can make one more point, going back to the parking, allowing access gives us 28 more spaces on site for the development of this property, however it goes, which we would not have without not having this easement. So to me, it makes all sense in the world to go forward, to allow parking underneath this lower level.
And the other point I just want to make, and now it's been confirmed by both attorneys, is that even if we built a building on the ground, we'd have to have fire lanes around the building.
The outside, yes.
On the outside, that you could use it.
An attorney has to tell me.
They just did.
No, I have to have an attorney say we're going to sell it as driving in the fire. That's what we're selling.
A fire lane is never exclusive. You can't drive on it unless it's a fire truck.
Well, I don't know.
It's a roadway.
I have to hear that.
You can't park on it, you can't impede it, but it's
I don't know if we
still a
can
legal
say
roadway.
as a town, we're telling you as our easement, drive on the fire road. I don't know if we can do that.
From my experience driving over a fire lane, what you're doing is reserving a place for an emergency condition for a fire truck to park there. So you cannot park it. You can drive across, as long as, again, you don't stop, drop off, whatever. It's not meant to not be driven on.
Well, I need someone, I don't.
But based on my experience, I did it.
Yeah, that's something that fire.
And they would review the plans based on the fact that there's no building there right now.
I'm pretty sure they're going to see
Same
it.
with the previous project, because there's going to be dedicated access for the fire department, and they're going to say this is the best way to come in, and somebody's going to be driving over it all the time.
Right. Okay. I don't think we can talk about this anymore. I think we have to make a decision as to what we want to do.
Why don't we bring up Yogesh, you can talk about the architectural changes.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I just add,
Yes, you can do whatever you like.
can, if the additional condition is that if the preferred easement that would be presented will involve automobiles crossing a fire lane, that this be approved by the fire department as specifically reviewed and approved.
Fine.
That will
So what are you
address
going to do if the fire department comes back and says we don't?
We gotta come back here.
But you can't have every conceivable thing.
Mayor, stop throwing up the speed bump. Let's get forward on this. Let's get this through. Come on.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Mystery's to my right, you're all
And
familiar with
he's
him, he's been sworn in, he's
before,
been
we know
accepted.
you, and,
He's under oath, can't lie to you.
okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, so we're just gonna go over the changes that we made from the last iteration of this drawing set. The main item being that the lower level was essentially just made storage space. We eliminated all the parking spaces. We got the utility rooms downstairs. We also eliminated the trash room because since we don't have access from down below, put the trash upstairs. The rest of it is either just tenant storage, retail storage, and just kind of access for the utility rooms.
Okay. Now I'm confused. Okay. Now you seem to be talking about this like you're not, like there's no easement, like there is no.
Yes, yes.
parking.
So
I'm really confused with what we're doing.
Our ask is for the easement with the 2 levels of parking that we previously presented. As an alternative, we were asked to provide a design that doesn't have the easement, meaning no access to the pothole. That's the version that Mr. Mystery is presenting right now. So as Mr. Brewer said, with the approval, the council would be presented with easement, they vote no on that, then they would be presented, all right, well, we need 46 spaces licensed. Now, if they say yes to that, or they can say no to that, and if they say no to both, as Mr. Brewer said, we'd be back before you. But this is what we were asked to provide, so that's why we're
No,
here.
okay. I guess my question then is, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but if the easement were granted, let me just ask you this question. That would solve one of the parking questions that we had, parking and retail.
Correct.
So let's just make an assumption, just for discussion. The easement was granted, what did you do with the retail in that scenario?
Okay, I'm gonna go to the first floor. That was the lower level, that was the parking garage level.
Okay,
That was just, I mean, we have to excavate regardless.
okay, so in effect, now that clarified it.
Okay.
Okay, so in effect, what you were saying is that bottom level is exactly the same excavation,
Footprint. Yeah,
same
we have
footprint,
to
same thing,
Yes.
same height, same
Because
whatever,
we don't have parking there.
except
there's
there's no
storage.
parking.
Yeah.
So
Exactly,
you put all the other stuff downstairs.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay,
Sorry.
so on the ground floor now, we picked up a retail space. I think there was a request to change the vestibule or the entryway for the apartments. Instead of coming off of Wanacue, which is would be over here, we had like this linear hallway going back to the elevator. We changed that. We made the coffee shop, the whole storefront facing Wanacue. Then there's a retail space number 2 right behind it. It's, facing Lakeside. I'm sorry, not Lakeside, Colfax. And then right after that, there's a double door, and that leads to the entry for the residential apartments above, to the elevator core. Right after that is the exit for the parking on the ground level, and after that are the 3 additional retail spaces as it wraps around the corner. We were also asked to move the electric and transformer. It used to be facing Colfax, close to where retail space 2 was, and so we shifted it onto Lakeside. So this driveway shifted slightly, but this is still the entry off of Lakeside, exit onto Colfax. There's 20 spaces now because in addition to the retail and sort of reconfiguration of the apartment entry, the trash room got larger to accommodate the dumpster for the retail. So we're left with 20 parking spaces.
Okay.
So this is the,
So under this scenario, there's 20 parking spaces in the building,
correct.
okay, and the downstairs is
0.
storage and 0 and whatever else you're gonna do down there.
Yes.
And there would be 46 spaces that need to be leased.
Correct.
Okay, got it.
I think there were also some minor changes. The entries to the retails, I think they were requested to be recessed, so we recessed
Yep.
them.
Well, where's now I'm confused. So where's the plan if there is, this is not the plan?
No, that's gonna be, are you gonna,
This will be the main floor under either plan.
On either point, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
This is the revised first floor
Correct.
plan for either version.
oh,
of-
either?
of-
Yes.
Right, it's
Okay,
either,
but
that's what I'm
This,
saying.
Man.
the only
Were you excited or was there a bug?
between the two is the lower floor.
Yeah. Well,
Correct.
so one minor caveat to that, the only slight difference would, the trash room might get a little small because we could then put it back downstairs. We'd probably pick up 1 or 2 spaces then. So, but otherwise,
Okay.
we would keep all the retail like it
The
is.
important part, the retail.
Yes.
portion of it
That was the
That would
important
stay
part.
the
Oh,
same.
okay.
Or either way we got it.
Either way,
Correct.
okay.
Either way, we went from originally 2 spaces to 5, and square footage, I can't remember the original, but we're up to, what are we up to now? Square
5,176.
There you go, somebody did their homework.
And I believe you told us in your testimony that you thought originally, what's there now was about 7,000, I think.
That's right.
I may be old, but sometimes my memory works. Okay, now I got it.
And how many units are we talking about in either project?
Yeah, the unit count didn't change. That's still 51 units.
How many floors?
4 floors.
4 floors, 51 units.
Yeah.
So 5 floors altogether.
Yeah. The ground floor is the retail and parking, and there's
Yep.
four floors of apartments.
5 stories from the ground up.
Yes.
And you want 51 apartments, so you'll need 75 roughly spots, right?
66.
66, okay. At 1.5.
No, at the 1.4 ratio, you're at 72, right?
Then with EV credits,
Yeah,
it gets
that's
66.
correct.
Okay. So it's 62 with the EVs,
66.
and that's what you would have.
With 20 on-site, 46 licensed.
Right.
What about the other way?
The other way,
The other way, we'd be asking for
8 licensed,
8 licensed, so 58 on-site.
58 and 8.
58 on site.
Right. So it's either 58 plus 8 or
20, 46.
20 plus 46?
Yep.
That is correct. Okay. Everybody got that? thank you for bearing with us, because it's.
No, it's it's
Very
it
confusing.
took us time too, so we want to accommodate. So listen, I think.
And the retail space also is not and I hope we all agree on this, it's not necessarily 5 spots, because it could be flexible. If somebody wants all 3 spots for one store,
Yes.
then they get 20-some-odd square feet, okay?
And also, a coffee shop is not necessarily a coffee shop.
It's not necessarily a coffee shop. I would still suggest for the final plan of this, if we get there, I would take coffee shop off and just call it retail.
Yep.
And that also can be flexible space, so there's 5,170.
Now, I asked this more, I'm assuming you're making the offers to anybody who has retail there now.
Yes.
If they want to come back.
Yeah, we'll condition that.
And the sidewalks are how wide again? I think you said last time, but
Yeah, we said that they're actually wider than they are existing conditions. I can't remember what the testimony was. Do you remember, Bob? You had that?
Yeah, I think we determined it was wider than they are now.
Yeah, the building the existing buildings come right to the property line. Our building is set back in most places, not every spot, but
And the traffic pattern you're suggesting with an easement is what you're-
Say that again, Mayor?
traffic pattern you're suggesting with an easement because would come from which side? How do you come into the property?
It would be in and out, so you'd be coming in, so geographically, it would be coming north through the pond hole to the building.
So in other words, on Babcock or on the hill going down?
Can you put up the parking? I could say something quick. I think I had something that will help this discussion a little.
The site plan part?
With all the part.
Oh, this?
If, your preferred one, you're asking for, what, 8 spaces?
In the
You're
easement.
asking for the governing body to guarantee that they'll get 8 spaces for 30 years. They have to have access to it. So necessarily, if the governing body were to agree to 8 spaces here, that they're gonna lease, they have to be able to access it. So they are necessarily already agreeing to give access someplace to them. So instead of asking for access to 8 spaces, you're asking to access to a little lawn. I think that's a sales job I'm giving you, but it's a less of a sell to say, I want access to a little line any place, because they're gonna have to give you access to the 8 spaces also, someplace.
Just where I take the help anytime I can get it.
Okay. And you're not at, 46 is probably this entire line.
Yeah, 46, I'm just gonna say, is probably not.
You're necessarily getting an easement, if you're getting spaces in Palm Hole for 30 years, you're necessarily getting an implicit easement to them, rather than needing 46 spaces, you need access to a little lot. But that's my sales job, but I
So,
really
but
don't need
this
much
is,
of it.
this is true north to south here, and you'd access it through the north. And it's
So you're
one
coming in-
ingress and egress in the same location.
From Babcock, you'd be coming in to Pond Hill, or you'd be coming down the hill on Lakeside?
Probably do it either way.
Probably either way.
So that's what I'm asking, so you're not suggesting a way, if
Correct,
anybody...
no, that's, again, to the point, we're not suggesting any specific way.
But that's the way anybody else can enter the pond hole also, and there'd be absolutely no way to control that.
Well, no, but I'm wondering what the county is going to say with the extra traffic coming in. So they might suggest to us on Babcock, because you don't forget, you got Meridian's project there.
Oh, and now the county's gonna say they don't like the traffic on Wanacue
They
Avenue?
might say too much.
I mean,
We'll deal with that issue if it comes out. That's fine.
that one seems a little far-fetched to me.
It's the county job.
You know, I mean, it's a road you can travel.
isn't this a public right of way?
What?
Their easement would start here.
Babcock's a public right-of-way.
Bobcat is.
So the
Wanacue
easement
is
really
a,
starts once you're off of that road, right?
Yes.
So the residents could come
correct.
either way.
That's a good point,
Coming away.
Yogesh.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
County wouldn't have to say over the easement. Yogesh is right. The connection with Wanacue and Babcock is not part of the easement we're
Yeah.
suggesting. So they wouldn't have any say on that anyway.
okay.
So when, just when you're exiting out of the, upper level or where the retail is, can you make a left or a right or just a right?
So that's a one-way flow. No,
On
lakeside, right, so the enter is on the lakeside out to Colfax.
Can you make only a right on the Colfax or?
So that was a question that was raised last time, it's not proposed that way, we were open to whatever you thought was appropriate.
Answer to your question is 8-foot wide sidewalk. 8 foot.
8 foot
Oh,
sidewalks.
8 foot sidewalks, okay.
Right.
Yeah, so that was a question.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a long time. I didn't say we're gonna make it right to you, so that's tough. You got school, you got your project, you got any.
Yeah, but I think-
And you get the backup going on to,
This is the exact same discussion that had last time. We started with what the mayor said, and then you get the backup, yeah. So that's why we left it open to this.
Yeah, I don't, that's gonna be a determination.
What's that, making the right, gives you the back?
All right, or left.
Left, making a left into Colfax, at the exit.
Here,
Onto Colfax.
here. There's the exit.
What's that, Colfax right here, yeah, so if you made a left, right would be,
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I thought the last time we talked about is we didn't want the right because that brings the traffic back to the school, which we tried to avoid when we did Lakeside.
That's what we,
that's,
there's a lot of traffic. Both sides are bad, so.
Yeah. But again, I just don't think everybody's leaving at the same time either.
keep in mind, it's only 20 spaces, because the lower level, whether you give it or not,
Yes.
that's coming out.
That's
the other
correct,
direction.
because there's only 20 cars. So I would rather the traffic not go towards the school. And that way the flow is the same in both of them.
so you want to make a left out of, onto Colfax?
I want to make a left towards Wanacue.
And then you have to cross over a double yellow line, right? And you know how to do that, right?
You have to change the path, yeah, you can't cross the middle. We'd have to change.
Oh, well, yeah, but we're gonna be having, as part of the construction, that's all gonna be
My concern is not the left as much as the left or right onto Wanacue. That's a little tougher to turn sometimes.
Yeah. That is.
Oh, that's the existing condition you're saying?
Yeah,
That is-
now, yeah, that would be,
Right, I mean, but
right. I would like to see a traffic study on that area. That's a tough corner right now without it.
did we do a traffic study on this?
There was a traffic study, yeah, we didn't bring a traffic engineer,
No,
because we're
okay.
beyond that,
Okay.
yeah. But there's a traffic study done,
I'm just wondering, I just don't remember what it
dynamic
said.
traffic.
I don't remember what, I don't remember what it said, if there was which way that we should go out of here,
It was studied to make the left or the right.
left or the right. Okay.
Based on 20 cars, it's probably talking 3, maybe 4 cars peak hour, so it's really not that much.
Not that much, okay. Yeah, I'd rather have it go towards Wanacue, because then the flow in Lakeside and this building would be exactly the same. You could only go into the parking lots, okay, and that's when people are coming home, and you can go out and not go by the school.
So you would want them to exit and only be able to make a left?
Because they make a right,
Oh, you're saying restrict it to left only?
So why can't they go down Colfax Avenue and make a right?
because if they go down, if they make a right, then they can make the right onto, Lakeside and go by the school.
Maybe we can make no, I don't know, maybe, I mean, if they just want to go, if you want to go to, down Colfax to get on the 287, why not let them make a right? I mean, then they have to go, how do they?
Yeah, then they have to go around.
They can make a left onto Colfax.
and then go down and
And then a
come
right
around.
onto, okay, then they.
It doesn't really solve the
With-
problem,
with
it doesn't matter.
3 to 4 cars peak hour, do you
It
think?
doesn't
it's
matter,
workable?
it's probably not gonna make any difference. Leave it alone, either way. Okay,
So that's our proposal, that's our ask. Again, the vote we would request would be the same one you took last application, which would be to direct Mr. Brewer.
do you wanna frame that resolution, please?
It would be to,
Any other comments on,
Not yet,
suggestions?
nothing yet.
Okay,
And so what are we voting on?
did you have one to come?
Just
yes.
one point of clarification. So I'm looking at the plans here, and it's saying 6 stories, 68 feet. Is that no longer the case?
That's
It's
no
6
longer
stories
the
from
case.
the back.
From the
of
back
farm.
side,
Back,
yeah,
on
the back side. Okay, so you would still be seeking the amendments to the redevelopment plan for the height?
Outside, it's 5 stories.
Yeah, no, does your ordinance count it from the back? I thought it counted from the street level.
I think it's from the street,
I believe the requirement is 3 stories, 45 feet.
from the street.
I'd have to see when that's captured.
To the extent,
But it is listed also here in your plans as the requirement being 3 stories, 45 feet.
okay. Yeah, I mean, we would need to request that as well.
Okay.
So you'd be requesting a
Well, and when we put the redevelopment.
recommendation to
yeah.
change the plans.
Yeah.
So this would be, if you wanted to, a resolution to direct me to continue negotiations for redevelopment agreement for this project with the plans as presented on alternatives, where there would be two parking alternatives. The first preferential one would be the easement, so they could have the majority of the spaces within the building. Second alternative to go to the governing body would be no easement to access the parking for the pond bowl, but rather they would have 46 spaces at least, with a guarantee from the governing body they would be leased for a certain amount of years. That would be agreeable. And that it would be contingent upon that. If they did not get either one of those from the governing body, they would have no approval, or perhaps they'd have to come back. That's, you'd be direct me to negotiate agreement, which you have yet to see and yet to approve.
But I think the question, I don't think 46 spots is feasible. We can't do 46 spots. So, I mean, we just can't do it. So I don't know why we'd be asking, because we don't have the spots.
Then if that's this board's
Could they take that
understanding.
part out and negotiate the
You
agreement?
gotta count these high school spots, the parking we put aside, we put spots aside for a lot of different people.
I get all that.
Well,
I mean,
The problem is, you're the one who said maybe they don't do the easement. It's all based on the easement. We need the stinking easement. Sell it to the council.
They do. Either way, they have to go to the council. Either way, they have to go to the council.
We're gonna need 46 spaces.
But what I'm saying is, you can ask that, but we don't have the 46 spots, they don't have.
with that understanding and understanding the unlikelihood, I think the vote should stay as articulated by Mr. Brewer. So, as Mr. Ross said, that can be presented to the council, they can decide that.
okay. So everybody understand the resolution?
I do.
Do we have a motion to,
So moved.
so moved? Do we have a second? I'll second. We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion?
Again, I know I've said this before, like 5 stories, we're doing 5 stories again? We cannot step back a little bit, maybe like 4 and then step back? On the- There's just no room. There's just no room, right? It's always gonna be 5 stories.
It's actually, depending how you look at it, it's
6 stories.
From the back?
I just don't believe that.
Well,
It's a tight spot.
No, but on the top, like, bring it back.
But then you have no.
You look at the shape of the building.
Tight
Look at the shape of the building.
yeah.
You'd lose 6 or 8 apartments by trying to step them back, at least.
And remember, this was stepped back, this is a lower number of apartments than was originally
We're
proposed,
also increasing the setback lines.
and the setback lines. Because so this is 4 above 1,
Yes.
Yes.
and it was originally 5 above 1, with 7 in the back.
Correct.
So they already cut it back.
And it was bigger.
And remember, the back doesn't make any difference, because you can't, it just doesn't make any difference.
Everything looks big from the back.
Glenn, you had any comments before we?
No, it's a difficult site. You step it back, you're gonna lose units. They said everything that makes sense.
Okay. All right, motion's been moved and seconded, we've had a discussion, roll call, please.
Mr. Silverstein?
Yes.
Mr. Quigley?
Yes.
Mrs. Novak?
No.
Mr. Ross?
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you all.
thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Have a great night. We'll be back.
Very much.
Okay, new and unfinished business, I'm sorry, resolutions, we don't have any. New and unfinished business, we don't have any. We don't need an executive session.
Right? Good seeing you again.
Any public discussion? Open the meeting for public discussion. Seeing no one in the public is here, we'll close the public discussion. Any good of the order?
One question.
Yes.
Andy had given me a piece of paper regarding executive session.
We don't need.
Can we do it for 5 minutes?
5 minutes?
5 minutes of executive session.
Okay.
Like negotiations.
Okay, we're gonna go into executive session for a bit.
Yep, so they give you a resolution, it'll be a motion to go into executive session to discuss contract negotiations.
Okay, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Hold on.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I'm out.
What?
We can all leave.
Yeah, you can all leave. They can all leave.
Quigley and Ross?
Glenn can stay?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Glenn can stay.
Thank you, everybody. All right, guys, see you later.
All right,
Dinner? That's not good.
Thank you for sticking around. Good to see you. Yep, good night.
Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.
I don't know if I told you, I'm not here on the 17th, but hopefully it's renegotiated. Yep. He's not, his project's gonna be around 17th, just John.
Right.
Okay, renegotiated, so hopefully.
Next Wednesday.
I'll be done in a while. This is your pile. This is your pile. So we're done.
I'm almost there. You good?
Yeah, it's not gonna be on the same thing. I have to fix it. I don't know.
Okay, we did go to the order, we did everything else. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion, adjourn.
Second.
Thank you all.
All right.
All right, good night. Sorry, guys.
Don't be sorry, don't be sorry, don't be sorry.
That's why there's votes. That's why there's votes. What's the,
I will,